What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we're in the brand new 2026 Toyota Camry, courtesy of Younger Toyota in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So today we're in the new Camry because there actually is a new trim level for the 2026 model year. New color available actually as well. You still get 2 years or 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Gotta love that. And it's still known for absolutely stellar reliability, of course, as well. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so there will be several different trim levels for the 2026 Camry. You got the LE starting at $29,000 even, which is a $600 bump from the 2025 model year. SE, which is the one we are in today, going for $31,300. Nightshade, that is the new trim level for the 2026 Camry. That one starts at $32,300. XLE for $34,000 even, and then the XSE for $35,200. And so that was all pricing for the front wheel drive configuration. If you wanted to add all-wheel drive, we actually can do that to any of those trim levels. Just simply add $1,525 to any of the trims there. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Camry is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. You're either going to get 2 electric motors for the front wheel drive configuration or 3 electric motors if you want to go with that all-wheel drive configuration. That last electric motor, of course, powering the rear wheels to make it all-wheel drive. But power numbers are going to differ slightly dependent upon those configurations. Again, 225 horsepower for the front wheel drive, 232 horsepower for the all-wheel drive. Either way, 163 pound-feet of torque. Power is going to be sent to the front wheels or all wheels through an eCVT. 0 to 60 time coming in at approximately 6.8 seconds. That's pretty darn respectable, honestly, for this car. Top speed 115 miles per hour with MPG numbers. Get ready, this is the best part. 52 in the city, 49 on the highway for the front wheel drive LE, 47 city, 45 then on the highway for the front wheel drive models otherwise, and then you get 44 in the city and 43 on the highway for the all-wheel drive configuration. But either way, taking regular unleaded fuel, the cheaper gas, you gotta appreciate that. But so then before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in our Camry, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. There's actually some buttons located just behind the shifter. So drive modes are going to include Eco, Normal, Sport, and EV, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, and actually the steering sensitivity as well. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find it straight away. Let's put the acceleration here to the test in sport driving mode, and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2026 Camry here up to speed. All right, I do have it in sport driving mode here. Got her straight away in 3, 2, 1, go. Dang, weren't better than I thought. 60. That's not bad. Like, that's a very respectable 0 to 60 right there. Kind of quiet, and it is what it is with a hybrid, but yeah, that's plenty of an acceleration to merge you onto the highway. So absolutely no issues with that. I like that acceleration for this car. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 12-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.1-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at a very respectable 125 feet. That's pretty much par for the course right there as far as numbers go. As far as braking feel goes, since no one's behind us, let's hit the brakes. 3, 2, 1. It's not bad. A little bit on the softer side initially, but it definitely bites hard when you really get on it. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with the braking feel there. It's definitely going to bring you to quite a nice stop. So I like that. But then touching on suspension and handling, in front you're going to get an independent McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars, of course. Then if you were to go with one of the SE trim levels, that includes the XSE as well, and the Nightshade, because that's essentially an SE trim level just with black badging and whatnot. I'll get more into that later. But anyways, if you go with one of those trims, you're going to get Sport Tune shock absorbers and Sport Tune springs as well. So overall, as far as ride quality goes, my short little test drive here today, I'm gonna put it back to normal real quick. It's actually been perfectly fine. Like, I don't have any issues whatsoever when it comes to ride quality. Cabin noise is actually pretty on point as well. So we're going 52 miles per hour right now. I'll be quiet for a second here. a smidge bit of wind noise, but for the most part, it's pretty darn serene. And so I will say, acoustic laminated front windshield does come standard for all trim levels across the board, but get ready. If you go with the XLE or XSE trim levels, you also get acoustic laminated front door glass. And so that's something that a lot of times is even an option on luxury automakers. So the fact that it's even available on the Camry, that's pretty darn good. That's gonna, of course, give you your most serene cabin if you're looking for the utmost and luxurious sereneness, if that's a word. But those two trim levels is gonna give it to you. As far as the steering feel goes, I got it in normal driving mode right now. It's not bad. Let me put it in sport real quick. Yeah, so definitely well more of a heavier weighted steering feel in that sport driving mode. Does loosen up a little bit in normal, but it still actually feels pretty decent in normal driving mode as well. So I kind of like all of this so far. It's better than I thought it would be. But anyways, then touching our rear visibility, because of the shape of the Camry, you 100% should definitely not have any issues when it comes to rear visibility. Then there are some optional things when it comes to forward visibility though, like rain sensing windshield wipers. That is going to be optional on the XLE trim level only. So that essentially just detects any kind of mist or rainfall, automatically turn on to the windshield wipers. So you don't have to worry about that, just like automatic headlights more or less. But then there's also an option for a head-up display. That's actually going to be optional on the XLE and XSE trim levels. And that's going to project your speed limit, and safety features up onto your windshield, so you can better focus more of your attention on enjoying the drive. So little help with visibility there yet again. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior now of our brand new 2026 Toyota Camry.
All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2026 Toyota Camry, finished in Reservoir Blue, in case you wanted our exact exterior color name. But like I said at the beginning of the video, there is a new color for the 2026 Camry. It's going to be Dark Cosmos. It's kind of like a magnetic gray kind of a looking color, if you were curious. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Camry is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 4, indicating that the Camry is built and assembled here in the US, specifically Kentucky. But starting up front, that front grille is of course going to differ depending upon the trim level that you go with. You're going to get kind of a horizontal bar look for the LE trim levels, that's the LE and the XLE, and then a honeycomb mesh style front grille for the SE trim levels and that nightshade. Body colored front grille, by the way, for the XSE. So all the black up front on that front grille is actually going to be body colored if you go with that very top XSE trim level. But to the sides then, full LED headlights do come standard, so both low beam and high beam are going to be LEDs. Get LED daytime running lights with those. You also get the automatic feature. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams, and when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up the high beams for you there. And if you were to go with that nightshade trim level, the new trim for this year, you will get blacked out everything basically. So that chrome emblem is going to turn into a gloss black. You're going to get gloss black side mirrors. The wheels, in our case, are going to stay gloss black, and gloss black rear spoiler and so on. So essentially the nightshade is just a bunch of gloss black trim with the SE trim levels. So anyways, that pretty much rounds out the front end of the Camry. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, I love this look. I think it looks like one of those old Saabs on the C-pillar in the back there, but so Camry's always had that cool look. But anyways, black or chrome window surrounds are going to come standard. So essentially looking at the LE being the chrome and the SE trim levels being the black. Body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with LED integrated turn signals. And then taking a look down at the wheel setup, they are going to differ pretty substantially depending upon the trim level that you go with. The LE is going to give you 16-inch 10-spoke alloys. The SE and nightshade trims are going to give you what you're looking at, which is 18-inch black alloys. The XLE is going to be my personal favorite look, and that is going to be 18-inch machine finished alloys. And then the XSE is going to be 19-inch smoked gray / black alloys, so it's going to be a combination there. And like I said, that's going to be for the XSE trim level. But love the body colored side skirts. Not all sedans do that, and that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, something else as we are around to the back of the Camry here, all the way to the top, body colored shark fin antenna. Rear spoiler, that is going to come on the SE and XSE trim levels, and of course the nightshade as well, but in the case of the nightshade, it's going to be finished in gloss black, as opposed to the body colored rear spoiler that we have with us here today. It's just a little nice lip spoiler in the back here. I'll get up a little closer so I can show that to you guys. But LED taillights, they do come standard for all trim levels across the board, so you got to appreciate that. You do have some trim level badging found on the Camry in the back back there as well. You guys can see the SE badging. So if you wander onto a Toyota lot maybe on a Sunday, just look at the back of the Camry. That's going to be how you can tell what you are looking at. If you go with the all-wheel drive configuration, it's going to be located just above that HEV badging right up top there. So this one is a front-wheel drive model, which, by the way, is pretty darn good because we didn't really have any slipping whatsoever during that acceleration. And by the way, HEV stands for hybrid electric vehicle, in case you were unaware. And then just below it all, there is a single exhaust outlet. However, with the SE, Nightshade, and XSE trims, it's going to be finished with dual chrome tips. And you guys know I love that look. But having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip.
Alright, so now since we are around to the back of the Camry, when it comes to opening that rear trunk there is a button on the key fob, actually, believe it or not, to open it up. There's a rubberized button on the trunk itself then as well, but once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 15.1 cubic feet. There's nothing wrong with that, but if that was not enough space, of course the rear seats do fold down for quite a bit of extra space then if you needed it. There are some grocery bag hooks in the trunk. That's something that definitely surprised me. That's an SUV feature. It's actually on both sides, so that's kind of cool. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find a spare tire, which you guys know I always love to see. But then making your way up to the rear legroom, that comes in at 38 inches even. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the rear seats there. Definitely a decent amount of space for me. Rear center armrest with cup holders does come standard. I love that. Rear USB charging ports also coming standard. Love that as well. And rear ventilation coming standard for all trim levels yet again. So pretty nice setup for the rear passengers there. But then making our way up to the front seats, fabric trim seats coming with the LE trim level, Softex upholstery for the SE and Nightshade trims like you guys are looking at, leather seating them for the XLE and XSE trims, heated front seats for those two trims as well. Ventilated front seats are going to be optional for the XLE and XSE, manually adjustable front seats for the LE, and then power driver seat with power lumbar for all other trim levels across the board. And I will say, power lumbar was plenty adjustable. It definitely made a massive difference in my back, but overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was plenty fine. Not like Lexus F Sport seats, but pretty darn comfortable. I didn't have any issues in my short little test drive here. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It's manually adjustable. It's leather wrapped for all trim levels but the LE. The LE trim is going to be wrapped in a urethane, but heated steering wheel then for the XLE and XSE trim levels is going to be optional otherwise. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. You got your Camry specific key. It says Camry on the one side. When you flip it over, lock, unlock, and the button to pop the trunk, of course, but it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that black engine start button located kind of by the driver's right knee there. And so once started up, when it comes to the gauges, you're looking at a 7-inch digital gauge cluster. That's going to be for the LE, SE, and Nightshade trim levels. And then there's going to be a full 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster for the XLE and XSE trim levels. Having said that, this gauge cluster isn't that bad. It's not as customizable as I would want it to be though. I mean, when you change to drive mode, it changes the hue of the gauges just ever so slightly. Like Sport is going to give you a little bit of some red hues. Eco is going to give you some green hues, and Normal is blue. But other than that, I would have loved some completely different looks for the gauges up there where I could customize it, really make it my own kind of thing. So Toyota, if you're watching this, a lot of the competitors do that. That would be absolutely amazing. Just some different gauge options so we can completely change the look up there. But having said that, like I said, it's not bad. You got your outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty. Your fuel information is going to be there to your right, engine temp on your left. So it pretty much does give you everything that you need though. So I guess I'm fine with it. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. A power sunroof or panoramic glass roof is going to be optional for all trim levels. We got the power sunroof option with us here today. LED interior lighting for the XLE and XSE trim levels. Aluminum pedals. This is one of the first things I noticed. I think they look so darn cool down there for the SE and XSE trim levels. Wireless phone charger for all trims. Dual zoom climate control, all trim levels as well. HomeLink controls for the XLE and XSE trim levels is going to be optional otherwise, an option that we do have with us here today. That's for up to 3 different garage doors. That's pretty cool. Just to the right of that wireless phone charger, you're going to find a good amount of space there. You got a couple cup holders just behind that. Electromechanical parking brake behind the shifter, and then within the center armrest, there's actually a pretty decent amount of space within that center armrest. Actually a 12-volt power outlet in there too. That's pretty cool to see. Some of the things that I like about the interior quality here is just about the passenger side glove box. They kind of brought this cloth finish, which is on part of the seats, but they brought that up to just above the passenger side glove box there. It's also on the doors actually as well, so that is definitely pretty nice. Also with the air vents here, they had a nice little silver texturized finish to them. They didn't have to do that. They could have left that in matte black, so I did like that as well. So there was some attention to detail put into the interior quality here. I think I would honestly be perfectly fine considering what this vehicle is, so I don't have any issues there either. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the infotainment screen, because this is absolutely massive. And so here's the way this works. So traditionally, an 8-inch color touchscreen display is going to come on the LE, SE, and Nightshade trim levels. However, there is a 12.3-inch color touchscreen display coming with the XLE and XSE trims. That screen that you were looking at is the 12.3-inch screen. It's going to be optional on like the SE trim level that we have with us here today. So that's pretty cool. At least we got that option. You get Bluetooth and audio streaming, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which by the way is wireless for the Camry. That's pretty cool. You can check out your driving statistics up there if you wanted to, of course, and it's got your radio information up there too. So when it comes to the sound system, it's singular, but then there's an option. So you get 6 speakers for all trim levels across the board. However, there is a 9-speaker JBL sound system that is optional on the XLE and XSE trim levels, but it is an option we don't have with us here today. So we do have the 6-speaker one with us here. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Yeah, it's definitely an above average 6-speaker sound system, honestly. Like, decent amount of bass. Clarity was decent as well for being 6 speakers, so I actually don't have an issue with that. Like, Toyota usually does do a pretty darn good job with their 6-speaker sound systems for whatever reason. But anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen is when you do put the camera in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board, letting you know who or what is behind you, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so let me start with the best part. The Camry is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, which is the very highest designation given by IIHS. That pretty much says it all right there. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. You also get driver and passenger knee airbags up front as well. In the back, you got latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 that gives you a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert, steering assist, lane trace assist, road sign assist, and proactive driving assist then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the 2026 Camry, brilliant safety since it's fresh in my mind. This thing is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. That's what Volvos get. That's the very highest rating possible, so that's pretty cool. Absolutely brilliant MPGs. It is possible to get over 50 miles per gallon in the Camry. Even with the all-wheel drive, you're hitting mid-40s, which is absolutely incredible in a sedan of this size. It's just so cool. I know Toyota does it all the time now, but still, back in the day, it never used to be that way. But also, this thing is known for great reliability. I do believe that's still going to be the case with the Camry as well, because just look at the Prius. Toyota knows how to do hybrids. Priuses last forever, man. So, and I remember reading an article about a Highlander hybrid going over 1 million miles somewhere in Florida in the Everglades as well, so that's pretty cool. Also like that this particular sedan gives you all-wheel drive availability. Not all of them do. If there was room for improvement, I would say on this one, I would probably only have one thing, quite honestly, maybe 2, but definitely 1. I would throw in an ambient lighting option. I think that would look so darn cool in this, and yeah, maybe that's just me, I'm weird. But also the other thing that is maybe hit and miss is a little bit more for the rear passengers, maybe on the top trim level, like heated rear seats could be an option, or rear window sunshades could be as well. I know the Sonata gives optional rear window sunshades, so just thinking off the top of my head there. So competitor does that, but still, having said that, this thing is dang near perfect, quite honestly. I absolutely love the Camry now. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the Camry, and if you would get one in the comment section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff at the bottom of the screen if you wanted to see what's coming next on the channel. Before it gets to YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button. If you're into new car reviews, that is what I've been doing for 11 years now. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.